blown away that someone actually booked it around the same time.
I know. It was destiny.
It's like you just put it out in the.
I know. I put it in the ethos. Yes.
You just got to give it a little time
We
for someone
did.
to say.
Made it work.
And his client is coming in. It's like we haven't seen him in a month or so.
Yeah.
And so it's just like.
The universe aligned
How-
on a
Thank
Friday,
you.
on a stormy Friday, just for.
First Friday.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, you're good.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Okay, let me get this one for you. Well, it's no, I we can talk about a wide.
My peacock earrings. Look at how beautiful those are.
I like them. Yeah,
Right?
they are.
Peahens are like royalty.
Now, how long have you been doing the landscaping thing, by the way?
So I got into the plant industry 6 years ago.
Okay.
And then I don't want to work for the man anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I've started to do my own landscaping stuff on the side. And hopefully by next year, I'll just be doing landscaping.
Cool. I like that.
Wow.
All right.
All the ways plants can save the world.
Okay.
Maybe that's what this one's called.
Yeah, you can. All right, I'm gonna do the thing. I'm just gonna
Okay,
say.
wait,
hello,
let me
everybody.
chew this.
Take your time.
Okay.
And this is just a laid back conversation, and really, like, I really only have people on who, like, that I know well. I know how they are. I trust your energy wave.
Right.
Seen how you engage with people.
Yeah.
So we're all good.
Good.
Okay.
You never have to use this if you don't want to.
No, I'm totally using it. I love, dude. I know how smart you are. I appreciate your energy, and I know how you are. Just outside of this, I've seen you in real life.
Yeah.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Saving Humanity podcast. I'm here with my friend Aaron, which is also my brother's name, by the way. I think I told you that, but
Hello. Is he AA Ron?
yeah, he is AA Ron. Yep. The male version of that. Now, we could talk about a lot of different things. The things I want to talk to you about to really, like, because I really am interested myself.
Mm-hmm.
The version of you that went to South America.
Okay.
And then the version of you that came home. Can you talk about the difference and sort of all those things?
Okay, can I tell people why
Yes,
I went to
yes,
South America?
Yes, please. Please.
Okay, so I experienced a PTSD event, an event that caused PTSD,
Sure.
complex PTSD in me, just about 3 years ago now. And part of my healing from that was getting introduced to psychedelic assisted therapy.
Okay.
So I've been on a journey with psychedelics in a healing setting. And ayahuasca, which is a psychedelic, had called to me after my divorce, which was 7 years ago now.
Okay.
And at that time, I just couldn't. And then she kind of went away. And my father passed away in October.
Sorry.
And thanks. That it is an okay thing that
Right.
he is no longer with this world. So he passed away, and it brought up a whole bunch of new things. I feel like my healing has been like these layers, like you peel an onion, right? Like you're continuing to get deeper and deeper. There's always layers. And every layer that you can kind of expose and heal takes you one step closer to your true divine self, right? So ayahuasca started calling to me again after my father passed away. And I felt really strongly about taking the medicine in a traditional, supported environment. Ayahuasca has been used for hundreds, probably thousands, I'm sure thousands of years in Peru among the some of the tribes,
Right.
Peruvian tribes. And so specifically the Shibo tribe is the tribe that I ended up going and experiencing ayahuasca with. So that's why I went to Peru. I went to a retreat center that they only took up to 8 people max, which was a really big deal to me because I didn't want to be in a room with 50 other people with something that psychedelic medicine, when you're using it for healing, is so powerful, and it takes you to such a deep place and such a reverend place, a very what's the word I'm looking for? Like
appreciative, maybe.
no, like a
introspective, maybe.
Sacred.
Okay.
It takes you to a very sacred place. And I just didn't want to be around 50 strangers while I was doing that. So they only took 8 max. I decided to go for 2 weeks, and it ended up being 6 ayahuasca ceremonies in those 2 weeks.
Right.
In the middle of the jungle. So gorgeous and beautiful. You're right on the Amazon River. And they take care of you. You're on a special diet. The medicine works within you in multiple different ways and can interact with our Western diet food.
Sure.
So you're on a very specific diet while you're there. I came out a completely changed person.
Who were you before, and who did you come out?
So I would say that the biggest change that I noticed from 6 ceremonies we call her Mama Aya. She's a female medicine. So she's Mama Aya or grandmother ayahuasca. So after sitting with her, I would say the biggest change is my nervous system regulation. We walk around in this lifetime with such dysregulated nervous systems. And until you're able to step out of that and become regulated, you have no idea like how triggered you always are in this world. Like we are constantly barraged, right?
Yep.
So like when I say trigger, I don't just mean trauma, just constant triggers and stimulation, which keeps us in this nervous state. And it's done on purpose, right? If we stay in this nervous state, then we are living in this fear-based state. Our nervous system feeds into that, and we just stay crazy, right? And like wondering how do we calm ourselves down? How do we get to that like Zen place that everybody talks about?
Right.
So afterwards, I can approach any situation, like even this, this would normally like cause my heart to race. It's like public speaking, right? I'm with not a stranger, you're not a stranger, but with somebody that I'm sharing really, private information with. It's going out to everybody. And normally I would be really nervous about that.
Right.
And there's nothing. So when I came back, I actually thought to myself, am I depressed? Because I was so like even keel. It's just been such a great gift, like such an amazing gift. Not anything I would have ever expected afterwards.
Right.
I also feel like my brain works in multiple dimensions now.
Okay.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
Well, tell us.
Okay.
Tell me.
Okay. I'll tell you, all of you. Okay. So multiple dimensions, meaning like I can take a situation now.
Sure.
And I can look at it in the way that we would look at it, like just in everyday life, right? With all of the filters that we've been taught, all of the programming, all of the patterns, and we can make a conclusion on that. I can take that situation now and I can see that like normal 3D conclusion, and then I can take it and say, but wait a minute, what if it were X, Y, and Z instead of A, B, C? And my brain can take it into like this different, I would say, thought dimension in terms of being able to layer situations that are happening. So I can give you an example. Okay. So when Utah started talking about the water crisis,
Yes.
right? Okay. So the drought and how serious that was. Okay. When I look back on how much moisture we've gotten, we had a really wet October. You look at all of the percentages. There's some areas that are worse off than they have been in previous years.
Sure.
But to the point where they were cutting off irrigation water to whole towns.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I was thinking, so normally we'd be like, oh, yeah, there's a drought, and they're telling us there's a drought, and so water has to be cut off.
Right.
So my brain was like, wait a minute, that doesn't... So before, that's how I would just stop there.
Right.
I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Because if you take all of the information and and then you look at what they're trying to restrict...
Mm-hmm.
It didn't add up. So then I was like, okay, but wait a minute. There's probably something else going on with this. There's probably another ulterior motive. Well, then the data centers came out, right? Okay. So it's kind of like this, I'm not willing to accept what is presented to us, just as okay, this is the way it is. So let's agree with that. And my mind can take me to places of, no, these other possibilities are this, 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 and this. And then you can bring in, okay, if they're trying to limit the water from us, then if they're trying to limit us growing things, they're trying to make us less self-sufficient, trying to keep us hooked into the system, right? So my brain can go into all of these different layers of, okay, there's a way bigger picture for all of this. Don't you think?
I think our government is just incompetent. I don't know if they're necessarily evil, but I think there's two parts I feel about. I mean, I want to talk more about this, but
okay.
but no, but I will tell you with the data centers. So we stopped building nuclear in America in the 1970s, and we haven't built one in 45 years. And
yes.
now we know that nuclear is kind of more of the safer energies, but
yes.
because we haven't built it, we're really far behind. It takes a long time to build them.
Right.
So we had the same scare then with the data centers now.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're all going, and a lot of our energy problems are because we don't have the nuclear here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one problem caused, a lot of our energy problems are caused because we don't have nuclear, because we scared everybody into not building nuclear, and now we're doing the same thing with data centers. It's usually when groupthink says one thing, that's when I kind of like what you say, but it's usually it's usually not the average person doesn't care about their health. They're not going to optimize. They're not going to take a medicine journey. So it's they're no data centers. They did the same thing to nuclear. Now we have an energy shortage because we don't have nuclear. And
wait.
So yeah.
Do we have an energy shortage because we don't have nuclear, or do we have an energy shortage because we aren't focusing on the energy that is available to us? Mm-hmm. We have more than enough energy available with the sun. That would be able.
It's expensive.
How is it more expensive than building a nuclear power plant?
It just doesn't. The energy conversion isn't as...
I know, but why is the energy conversion not as good as it should be? Because we haven't been putting our minds and our efforts into making solar panels better.
Well, so I'm totally with you. I'm all about that.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But I think there are people who are trying to do solar. It's just...
Who?
Well, companies, because there's been an incentive to do it. The government has given subsidies for solar, subsidies for that kind of industry. But they just haven't been able to break through. It's just a very inefficient way of, I guess, what would you say, creating the energy. It just doesn't have the same mass effects to be able to heat people's homes or to do those things. It's just they can't scale it the same way.
So I'm going to agree to disagree with you on that. Okay. I think that's what you've been told, is that they can't scale it. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's the truth.
Okay.
So, okay. Yeah. But back to...
Okay. Now, so what were you hoping to find sort of before the trip? What was your intentions before the trip, and then what did you
Yeah.
Or did you find it? But you just so I thought what you said was amazing. I totally got what you said. I got a download from it too. And I think you're so right about and it's plus it's the quality of life that we have. What is our life if we are dysregulated? We should really just enjoy every moment anyway of any external environment and just be happy that we get to experience it. So I thought you did an amazing job laying that out.
Yeah.
What were you going for before the trip? If you had anything.
Yeah. I will also say that nervous system regulation is way more impactful in a female than a male in this world.
Okay.
Because males have the inherent right to be walking around and not being as physically afraid as women are. So as a woman, from my standpoint before I left, I was extremely dysregulated because every single person was a threat to me from a physical standpoint, right? So I do think we can't emphasize that enough, especially for women these days. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be good for men too.
I will say too, I'm with you, and I know what you're talking about. But also, though, depends on where we're at. We also can be targets, and other men can get a lot more aggressive with other men physically than they might be predisposed to with women. Especially, it's more acceptable for us to fight each other, men to fight men. So it just.
But does it matter if it's more acceptable?
Well,
we had the Rape Academy come up. That's 80 million men or 60 million men visit, 6 million men, however many million of men visiting it on a weekly basis. You haven't heard of this Rape Academy?
I want to tell you that. But what
yeah.
No, I want you to tell me.
So men attack women even if it's not socially acceptable.
Okay, hold on. Tell me about that. But my point is that depending on where we're at, there's a man is much likely to attack another man. Like a man, what we say to another man can trigger a fight very quickly. So it depends on where we're at to not be threatened. It also depends on just a lot of factors. So I understand, but I also do know a lot of men who have been attacked and just physically not in a good way because they were a dude in the wrong spot or because someone took offense to what they said or whatever, and didn't want to be publicly humiliated. You know what I'm saying? And I think men are more short-tempered with men than maybe they would be women, especially in public. But I want to hear about the Rape Academy. And by the way, whatever you say, I appreciate the energy.
Yeah.
And I don't really. Number one, I just don't care. Like life's too short to even. But I love learning. I love extrapolating, and good conversation makes good clips.
Yeah.
So tell me about the Rape Academy.
Yeah. No. And I think you have the luxury of saying I don't really care. Like you just said, I don't care.
No, I don't.
I don't really care.
Argue
about it. Yeah. So when my life depends on it, I do care to argue about it, and I will argue with you about it, because from a woman's standpoint in this world right now, when men try to minimize what a woman is experiencing in this world right now in this day and age. When men try to minimize it and say that they have it difficult as well, wait, let me finish. You're feeding. Let me finish.
Well,
you're feeding into the okayness of it. I agree with you. If you said to me, "Yes, Aaron, that is true," and men also get attacked, but you didn't say that. You said, but men, like statistically, they're going to come after men more aggressively than women. It's not true.
Men do attack men.
I'm sorry
publicly.
You feel that way, but it's not the truth.
But also, when I say don't care, I mean I don't care if I'm right or wrong.
Right.
It doesn't matter to me. I'm not.
Yes, you're not trying to be right.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and then there are some facts like men are predisposition to violence, not in domestic violence. Actually, women, 70% of all domestic violences are caused by women. So women attack men in domestic violence situations more than men attack women. So if you're talking about that in particular, that's actually true as well. So I'm not here to, I don't like, but.
Where did you find that statistic? Because I don't agree with that.
That's an FBI statistic. You can look it up right now on your phone. I appreciate your energy.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, no, because
this podcast here is about raising the vibration. I know. I don't want to do a podcast where we just.
Yeah, let's just cut this out because.
Vilify men or vilify anybody.
I'm not trying to vilify men. I'm trying to say where a woman is at in this world.
Well, you told me like you don't have what I'm saying is I wasn't minimizing you when I said I don't care. It's more like I like when people tell me different views and different thoughts and stuff I don't necessarily agree with, but and maybe like you said, you just have a strong energy wave, which is I love it, and I know you're naturally kind and awesome to everybody.
Right. Anybody who's kind to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm also going to speak the truth or what my truth is. And I'm sorry if that makes you uncomfortable.
It doesn't.
Okay, good.
It doesn't. But
good.
But also let me give my retort or thoughts back as well.
Yes.
We don't have to. It doesn't have to be. I'm not saying you are, but it's not going to be personal. But it's just
I'm not taking it personal.
Like in domestic violence cases, women.
1
have
in
a higher,
3 women, and 1 in 4 men. So actually, more women are attacked than men. That's the first national domestic violence hotline statistic that I pull up.
In domestic violence cases, do women or men attack you in arrests? Do women or men get arrested more than each other?
Wait, arrests?
Yes.
Okay, well, arrests don't mean anything. You've got the police system who's all of the good boy club, and there are a lot of men that get off not getting arrested. So that statistic doesn't mean anything to me.
Somewhat true. I don't disagree with.
We don't have to go there because I don't think that's not what my trip was about. So what my journey was about. So back to the journey.
Okay.
Because I agree with you. We need to be raising the vibration in this world for the world to survive, because we are burning right now, and we're going to continue to burn until we get to rock bottom. I don't know what that is, but there is going to be a rock bottom, and we're on our way there. So
I also think you have a good energy and a very powerful
yeah.
one. So I love that too.
And I hope you know, like I'm not attacking you.
No, it's okay.
You're one of the good ones.
Well, thank you.
And honestly, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit down and talk to somebody or I mean, you see how much I don't have any free time.
Right.
I wouldn't spend my precious free time with someone that I didn't believe in.
Well, thank you.
And I believe in you.
Yeah, okay,
and I believe in your message.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
And I know your heart, and I've seen how she treats people just in general. So this is just us talking freely and share, and you can and however you respond, you can say whatever you want. So I don't think this is, but like, I think if you say things, if any of us say things like, and I think you meant this in a good way, but like if you're one of the good ones, I think it's not fair. Like if you study evolutionary history, if you like,
no, I said you are one of them.
No, exactly. But like, I don't think one race is better than others. One race is worse. One race is more evil. One sex is more. I think there's like evolutionary reasons why we are the way we are, and I don't think that there. Now I agree that like men historically have been more physically because we had to survive, and then so we have bigger shoulders, we have stronger cheekbones.
Oh, you guys have been trained
exactly
to be like
evolutionary, natural selection, like people don't
and
understand.
Training.
Yes, but yes. So in the agricultural society, the last 10,000 years, but it was like the fact that we even created that 10,000 years, that was millions of years of evolution to even get there. So it's like everything has a reason based in like evolutionary psychology, and like there is no like. Just like we don't get mad when it rains because it's like that's just the nature of things. Like I don't think men are toxic to like if this makes sense. Like it's just what it is. Like from an evolutionary perspective of everyone we've got here because it helped us survive, and then from here, no matter what your thoughts are, political, whatever, it's like we can always do better because what got us here won't get us there. But at the same time, I really despise like identity politics in general. Like when someone says this gender's good, this gender's bad, this race is good, this race is bad, you know, it's all the Jews' fault or it's this or that. Like I think that's a very low vibration energy. And again, not that you are, but I think there's so much of that where I always wanted my podcast to be and this is great. Like I love this too, and like people love this kind of stuff. And again, like I know you, so I don't. And when I say I don't care, I mean like you're free to say whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Like I don't care to like, but like because I trust you. But I just worry when anybody says like, oh, like this group is the problem, that group's the problem. Now, are there things that we can talk about? Absolutely. And then I want to let you say whatever you want to say and go. And you can tell me whatever. I'm not going to be offended. So just like please. And this is good. This is good. So yeah.
Okay. So I know you're not going to be offended.
I'm not.
But let me back up.
Okay.
Because words are really powerful, especially in a podcast, right?
Sure.
Like, I think we're figuring that out. We're picking up on certain words we're saying to each other. So let me back up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that males are bad and females are good.
Right.
I think, and I will say this, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate from the women out there.
Okay.
But I would say that the feminist movement, if anything, was detrimental because, to your point, it focused on women being great and men being awful.
Okay.
Right? It did create that. Okay. So I'm not saying men are bad and women are better. I'm saying that within the two genders, over these tens of thousands of hundreds of whatever, however many thousands of years, right? That whatever programming, whatever society has put into place has been more detrimentally damaging to men.
Okay.
And has taken them further away from their true divine self than I feel like the female population. And I think that's for multiple reasons. I think that from a society standpoint, it served the patriarchy and it served the people in power to have men growing up with no feelings, no emotions, willing to fight, right? Like we create armies. That's what we have to do.
Right.
So willing to fight no matter what, always being on the hair trigger, like you're ready to go, right? Like shoving everything else down. I mean, we have not done a service. We have done a disservice to males, boys that grow up into men that have these patterns and these programming that's what they've been taught and that's what they've been around, right? I think women, because we biologically have a connection to creating life, right? That is a fundamental difference. Nobody can argue that.
Sure.
And it doesn't mean, I'm not saying one is better than the other. We can make the argument if we wanted to. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that by the fact that we have been able to be creators of life, that it has kept us linked to a closer version of our divine self, even with all of the programming and trauma and everything that's happened. So I feel like at this point in history, females as a group, in the United States at least,
Sure.
because that's my experience right now,
Right.
are closer to an understanding of where they come from, like in here, than men are. And I feel like it's our role, gentle, loving, kind women, females,
Right.
to help with any men that are ready to be like, hey, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this programming. I don't want to be this rage head, like, everything has to be this way, right? Like, I don't want to be that person anymore. I want to be the little boy that I was born into. Or like, think about little boys. They don't start out like that. We teach them that. They start out soft and kind and loving with an imagination and emotions, right?
All right. That was beautiful. That's
'Kay.
beautiful. And you're awesome, by the way. You're absolutely awesome. You are a very good energetic wave person, just in general. So I would say that's awesome. What do you say to the fact that we are little boys? Obviously, I teach kids.
Yeah.
And boys are a little more naturally aggressive than girls. I would say even just at
Yeah.
7 or 8. But also then, what about when boys' testosterone gets turned up to like 1,000, and then the girls, like yours might be 40 or 50 or 60, and then mine's, last time I tested it, which was been a while, a couple of years, was like over 900. Does that not account for some of our wanting to like be more result oriented or be more, and I agree with you about like, because like enlightenment in the world is when men quit having war with each other and then compete in business. Like the Enlightenment period really was like free market capitalism replaced wars between countries. Like we started realizing we can get resources by competing with each other in business voluntarily, rather than just I'm going to take my army and go kill your army, which was the default of human history for most of its existence. But then what about, so I would say, like, I'm not even saying this, I'm asking, number one, what would be, how do you help men tap into that? And number two, what do you say about like the testosterone, getting that thing turned up to like 1,000? Because that also is just a natural evolutionary thing, because all the high testosterone men, including your dad and his dad, was like the high test, were the ones who survived from those men. I think like 80% of all women to ever been on Earth have reproduced. Only like 40% of men. So 60% of men that have ever lived have not even procreated. So the ones who have survived, it's been the ones who had a level of testosterone that helped them survive to procreate, to procure resources long enough to mate and then just put their descendants in the gene pool. Although I agree, like the last 200 years, like that's not even like a, you know, that's not even like something to, it's not, that's not even that hard. So yeah, exactly. But anyway, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So I've read a little bit and done a little bit of research just on ancient societies.
Okay.
Like, you know, let's go back to ancient societies across the board and find what's similar amongst those societies that had no contact with each other, that didn't know each other existed, but somehow they came up with similar.
I like this.
They came up with similar structures. One of those things is the role of men and the role of the males and the role of the females. So from an ancient culture and civilization standpoint, the women were actually the ones in charge of making sure that the village was working properly. Like they were basically the government of the village. The men, across the board, one of their main purposes was keeping the village safe, keeping the population safe. So if you went back to being a sentinel, you know, a guard, somebody who you were in charge of keeping people safe, I guess it would be what law enforcement is supposed to be these days, right? Like if you go in law enforcement, we think in our head like you want to keep the community safe. And we can get off topic on that, which we won't.
They actually do a terrible job of that.
Yeah. So the drive, I think the male drive to keep their community, their house, their people safe is very strong. And I think that that's where testosterone and the whole idea of, okay, I got to get out my energy, my aggression, my whatever somewhere, that you becoming the safekeepers, coming back to being the safekeepers, and women knowing that they're protected to be able to think about the kids and think about the villages and think about, you know, does everybody have enough food and do we have to send a crew out again to hunt or whatever, right? So I really do feel like that is one of the answers. Like, first off, undoing the programming, because I think like we even experience this, right? Like we live in a world where everybody attacks everybody and for everything. And so it is hard to not be defensive, to sit down and have a conversation like this, right?
Yeah.
But if two people can come to the table with open hearts and wanting to help each other, right? Like I can guarantee you a woman will say to you, I want to feel safe. I can guarantee you that's going to be one of her top, I would say 3 things, right? Loved, whatever, and safety.
Right.
And if if it was able to, if an interaction were able to happen where a woman was able to feel safe and able to communicate that to a man, saying, these are the reasons I feel safe, right? Because I think a man's idea of what makes a woman feel safe, it sometimes isn't it.
Sure.
Because, again, to your point,
Yeah.
the way a man sees the world and how you would view safety is different than how I would, right?
Right.
So I think it's just a start at like being vulnerable with this is what this looks like to me and this is what I need. And then I think I don't know, you can answer this, but like, how would you feel if a woman came to you and said, like, I don't need anything else from you. I need you to love me and help me feel safe. I've got a job. I enjoy working. I like doing my own things on the side. But like that is something that I need. Like, is from a male's perspective in this day and age, is that enough? Like, do you feel like that's enough? Because I feel like that's something that you get a little bit of pushback with. Like, well, that can't be it. Like, there's got to be more.
Well, that's a great question. I don't know how to say this. So, I think you kind of know me. And people on the podcast. So, I've totally been in, I guess, like longer term relationships with women, but they've been a little more like open.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of casual relationships, which you probably know that.
Yeah.
So I don't even think I'm the one to ask. I'm terrible at that.
But if a woman, okay, so let's say you were getting into a more serious relationship with someone, and she said to you, I don't need anything but knowing that I'm safe, like that.
Is that from like the external, or like me doing something crazy to cause a problem for her? Like, is my energy or my
both?
Temper? So no problem with my temper and my energy.
Right.
I can totally control that.
Yeah.
I would be, I guess in this hypothetical situation, I don't think that would be a problem at all. I think that would be very natural. I think. I mean, I feel like that would be pretty normal. To your point, if that's your point. But yeah, I feel like it would be all right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. That would not be. I wouldn't really hesitate to think twice about something like that, I guess you'd say, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be much more complex, and like we know each other at a different level and all that first. But yes, but then just those two things off the top of my head, I would say that sounds good. I mean, it sounds reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, I honestly think it's coming back to basics of like what we needed way back in the beginning, right? Yeah. Like, not now after thousands of years of all of this craziness.
Right.
So, yeah, that's, I think that is a step. I think, okay, so like, you know me enough to know that like I've been dating since my divorce. So I've had like 7 years of dating.
Yeah.
Okay. 7 years of dating with online dating. It's a lot of effing dates.
It's good. I don't even do online dating.
Oh God, I'm like.
I mean, I've done it I've done it a handful of times.
Yeah.
It just doesn't like. So I want to hear what you. So I guess the reason I don't do it is because I just could go meet people in real life, and I just go up to people I want to cultivate relationships.
Yeah.
with. But I honestly, like, and I know you know me, and you always wonder what a person but like, I really just love people and love learning to the point of that's like, I would rather do this than go to a bar right now and try to have a what like it's not about just like pleasure. I generally just enjoy meeting people, and I can go meet people anytime, anywhere. And the Bumble or Tinder or anything just becomes more of a hassle. It's a time waster. You can't make it through all the messages, and but you do meet like I'm happy that I met you and your energy wave, and and I want you to speak more. But one thing I really admire about you is that you have like this very strong mindset and this very big energy wave. And like, I think it's why you're successful, or like why you want to go off and like do your own business. And you have this, because you have a natural, like, what would you say? Like, paranoia, skeptical, view of like authority or stuff pressing you, telling you how to think or how to behave. And I think that's really a beautiful thing. I think that's the spirit of American, and I don't care much about like lines about like, this is the line of the country, nothing like that. But I think that's the spirit of like the intent of the American experience. And I hate even saying that, because it's like, it creates this thing of like,
it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Only America is like, it's like, dude, wait a minute. Our government just tells us stuff to make us feel that way, but actually they just steal our money. But yes,
Yes.
but in theory, the American like thing was people were skeptical of people trying to tell them, especially authority, telling them stuff that was we didn't even have property rights until we came here. Couldn't even own land. Like, no humans on earth owned land until America, because everywhere was centrally planned. And America had enough of people like you and me to where it was like, we actually want to have like principal property rights for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That was the Enlightenment period. That was Adam Smith and also like John Locke. They were like, rights are given by God, not by like a king.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get off on that, but you understand what I'm saying. But you, how you are, it's that spirit, that sort of that rugged individualism, but also like, you have a backbone. You're willing to like speak your truth, and it's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? It's really what we need.
Yes.
But the hard part is like I think I'm pretty emotionally mature. Like, I'm definitely more open. I try to be as open-minded as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But like, most people, like you said, they can't even. Your energy wave is so. You have such a big energy wave in a beautiful way that like, not that you encountered this, but like, we have to be willing to see people there and also like take their essence in without putting a label on it or judging it. Because it just ruins everything. Which is why. Well, it doesn't. I mean, look, I don't know if there is no right or like. Maybe there's a right or wrong ethically, like you shouldn't harm other people, but like everything is subjective to some degree. So it's like, what is it, which is like, is this a great podcast? Is this a good one? Is it a terrible one? Who knows? It's all subjective, but it seems like when we can let someone's energy be unbridled and free and just let them flow, it's a good thing. And then your energy is so powerful that it is the essence of what America's supposed to be, which is somebody who's like, I don't care. I'm not going to listen to what people tell me. Not that you're like that all the time, but if you're going to be like, I'm going to make it, I'm going to see if I can do this. I'm going to go out on my own. I'm going to create something. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So I want to tell you. And then
thank you.
Anything that you want to talk about, feel free. Yeah.
Thank you.
No,
I
it's true.
appreciate that.
You're all welcome, and it's true.
Thank you. It's definitely something you have to work on in this world.
Sure.
Because we, again, are trained from public school on to sit down, shut up, listen to authority.
Yeah.
Do what they say. Don't ask questions. Like, you can ask questions, but if there's not an answer to it, then no. We're moving on. Like, So, and what's crazy is that I come from academia. Like, I have a master's in genetic counseling. Mm-hmm. So book smarts for me, like that was what helped me survive in this world, helped me thrive in this world. I was a very successful genetic counselor. Mm-hmm. But the books aren't everything. The books are what other people in this world have written about, right? So we're getting somebody's perspective in every single thing we read, even the Bible.
Right.
Is somebody's perspective.
Correct.
Jesus didn't sit down and write the Bible.
Right.
Right?
I agree.
So it's some white man's, Jewish man. It's some person's, I don't even have to say man, some person's interpretation of what happened in that time. Mm-hmm. And we all know, like you said, everybody's interpretation and how they see things is very different. So, okay, I wanted to go back to what were we talking about? Oh, man. Okay, so all of this dating.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
The one thing is, I appreciate you saying that about my energy wave, because the amount of times I've heard that I'm too much, right? Like, you're just too much.
Right.
And what I can tell you is, when I open my heart to love a man unconditionally, with none of these strings, where I really am at a place where I want to truly help him.
Right.
And help both of us continue to heal. A lot of men are not capable. They don't have that capacity to accept that. So like I've even had a conversation with somebody I was dating for like 7 months. So like we knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "You're too much." And I was like, "Okay, please tell me, what does that mean?"
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, people with big energy,
Right.
they don't understand that because, I mean, other people are too much for me because I'm empathetic, but that's different from, like, I'm an empath, but that's different from my big energy. So like when people give me big energy, it doesn't bother me unless it's like icky,
Right.
right? Unless I feel that it's icky.
What,
But like
what does
fun.
it mean, by the way? I'm curious about that.
Ooh. So icky can be. Okay, so I am a true. Okay, empath is
Okay.
something that's thrown around. Everybody's a effing empath these days. No, you aren't. Okay. So human design by. Have you heard of human design?
I think so.
Okay, it's like your astrology and chakras, everything on steroids. It gives you this huge.
I have heard of it now.
Okay,
I know
yeah.
it now. Okay.
So I am like I have an open emotional center, which by human design is a true empath. So what happens is like people's stuff just dumps into that if I don't protect it.
Yeah.
So icky energy to me feels thick and dark and like that in the back of your throat, the mucus that kind of chokes you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it can be because of anything. It can be because they're sad and depressed. It can be because they are not good people, like they are evil, you know. It can be that they're having a really bad day and they're stressed and like angry, right? So all of that comes through in this like murky, muddy kind of.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I agree. I think like I'm sure you know the term, but I call it like vibrational energy.
Yes.
And we all oscillate. Like you can't. We as humans, you know, there is no perfect person. We're all going to be on a spectrum of this, but
if we were perfect, we wouldn't be here.
Exactly. And at the same time, though, someone's overall vibrational, at least intent and energy, you can totally feel.
Oh, for sure.
And then, like, being in that energy wave, and then, like, the law of energy transfer is real. You take on the emotions of others. We all do. And, like, our brain lights up to what they're lighting up. That's why when someone's sad, it can affect us when someone's angry. And, like, you can feel it. Just even general, you can just feel that. Like, you don't even know what you feel, but you feel it. And it's your body responding to their neurons. And 100%, you feel the energy. And then, I know exactly what you mean by icky.
So the other side of nervous system dysregulation is the complete shut off of it, right? When we have this in our face constantly and we're feeding on social media emotions, we have to just completely numb ourselves and shut it down.
Exactly.
So then when we have these human interactions, people can't feel anything.
No, so true.
Right?
Yep,
so like we're walking around like zombies.
I agree.
Yeah. So, okay. So back to like, I'm too much. Okay.
Yeah.
So I said, can you explain that to me? Because I don't understand.
Right.
And he said like, it's too much love. Like, I don't believe it. I don't believe that anybody could love as much as you love. I feel like there's something like there's an ulterior motive there. Like you're just going to pull the rug out from under me. Like something's going to happen.
Right.
And so I think I feel like we have all of these wounded men who, because of life and other things, have not been able to focus on themselves, just like women haven't been able to focus on ourselves, right? Like we haven't had enough healing all the way around.
I agree.
So you're forced into this life where you're working 50, 60, 70-hour weeks just to make it by. Yeah. You have your 2.5 kids, which need to be in 6 different sports because you're keeping up with the Joneses. You got to post your vacations on social media. You know, like it's nonstop that you don't have time to take a step back and do a trip like to Peru to really examine yourself and do some deep healing.
Right.
To be able to be at a spot where you can accept unconditional love from a woman.
Right.
So I think that's been my experience with dating men in this age.
So speaking of unconditional love, I had this topic for you. How has being a mother changed your understanding of life, like in a way that you would have expected not, that you maybe couldn't have read in a book? What's that been like for you?
Yeah. He's been my biggest mirror.
Okay.
Okay, you know how they talk about you'll have mirrors come into your life that show you the things you need to work on? My son has been my biggest mirror.
Okay.
So I would say that I didn't have the best upbringing, you know, and I had a lot of I carried a lot of beliefs on what a mother and father should be, like what a parent should be, or how a parent should act.
Yeah.
Or how it's okay. It's okay for a parent to act certain ways.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think I understand what you're
I'm
saying.
stressed. I'm
Right.
busy.
Right.
You know, and he has been the mirror of me as a little kid. And so all of the things that were really hurtful to me as a little kid, not realizing that and perpetuating that in my parenting, and seeing the look on his face and actually feeling, I can feel what he's feeling, like the hurt and the sadness and not understanding, like, why would my mommy be acting like this?
Right.
Kids don't understand when we're stressed.
Right.
They don't understand when we have an 8 o'clock phone call and we are stuck in traffic and, like they don't get any of that. We're not born into the world to get any of that, right? So he has been like, you talk about raising your vibration, just like from being a better human. And I do feel like I didn't have him until I was 39. So I'm not in the camp where I feel like everybody's purpose in this lifetime is to have children. But I will say that having a child fundamentally changed me for the better, because I was at the point in my life where I was ready to heal.
Awesome.
I think if I would have had him in my 20s, it would have been a completely different story.
Right.
So I'm grateful and blessed that I had him at an age where I had the capacity to look at myself and say, wow, this isn't something I want to repeat.
Right.
We have so much ancestral and generational trauma that we've inherited, especially our generation. Like, so people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, my belief is we've had like double whammy, because we've had all of the generations coming down to us where none of them have done any work because that's just not something you did, right? So it just like was compounding, dumped on us when we were born. And then we had parents that hadn't done any work themselves. So we were getting the brunt of everything in our upbringing.
Yep.
Now I feel like the kids that are coming up, there are a lot of parents that have done a lot of work, more work than their parents ever did, right? To clear out some of this.
Right.
So I do think that we're in these generations of extreme hurt that it's been passed down to us and we've experienced it.
Right. I've definitely experienced some of that from my parents. I also think my mother, like, we stand on the shoulders of those that came before us relatively.
Yes.
My mother did better by me and my brother than she had done to her.
That's amazing.
I think it seems like she was conscientious of that, but yes, at the same time, I mean, there's so much trauma and just lack of emotional regulation that it's impossible. Like, at that, especially girl, like, she was born in the 50s, so it just creates a situation where you know how it is.
Well, yeah, and Mama Aya, so ayahuasca on one of my journeys, she actually showed me some of the physical ancestral trauma. So I had fibroids in my uterus. Fibroids, they're benign tumors that grow.
Yeah.
But they can cause a lot of problems.
A lot of women have those, right?
Yes.
High percentage, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is over generations, there's more and more women that are developing fibroids. My mom had fibroids. Her mom had fibroids. But during the journey, Mama Aya is showing me how things are getting worse from generation to generation because nothing was ever cleared out. We talk about vibrational energy. Well, when you're living in really low vibrational energy and that compounds, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. Let me see. I've got a couple more questions
Yes.
for you here. What do you think, and I want to talk more about something in a minute because I want to talk about a pragmatic thing too. What do you think the world needs more of right now?
Joy,
Okay.
love, acceptance. We have to go back to who we are, what our essence is. If we could all get closer to our divine selves, words are powerful. I feel like words and definitions have also limited us in the way that we think because, we'll find a term for something like empath or empathy. And then like nobody ever understands what empathy actually is, right? We hide behind those definitions. So divine self, true essence, flame, whatever word you want to use, your soul, whatever word you want to use for your who you are, right? Because this body is just what we, as a shell that we chose for this life, right? And it's not our consciousness, right? It's beyond that, right? We all come from the same energy. We all come from this universal energy. I mean, that's been proven even in CIA papers, right? And it's not anything that's ever talked about because we can't talk about it or else we start to lose control of the masses.
Right.
So we all come from the same. Every living thing. That includes plants, animals. We can argue that water is a living thing, right? Like every living thing, we come from the same essence. And if we could all come back to that and feel that, then all of this other stuff goes away. The fear, the scarcity-based living that we're doing.
Exactly.
Why do we need to hoard billions of dollars? Nobody even has an understanding of what $1 billion is. Everybody thinks, $1 million and then $1 billion. And you make the same amount for $1 million as you do for $1 billion, and you just multiply it out by 10. No, right? Like, think about it. How much is $1 billion? $999 million.
Plus on $1 million.
Right? Like, nobody could ever spend that in their lifetime on anything like normal, that in terms of having to live, right? So we have the scarcity, we have fear, we have this commodity-based living, like everything external gives us happiness. That new truck, the 6,000 square foot house when there's 3 of us living there. Right? Like, what are we doing? That if we could all come back to that and realize that we don't need any of this that's been created for us, we come back to what the meaning of life is, and that's for all of us to be as close to one as possible.
All right, that was awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so now I want to throw some things at you.
Yes.
Completely unrelated to that. Just I want to, because I find you interesting. I know how smart you are, and then I want to get your thoughts on like some political things.
Okay.
Not even.
Oh yeah, because I can tell you from a Canadian standpoint. Okay, I'm going to say my disclaimer. I'm Canadian. I can't vote. None of this will even matter. What I'm saying.
Well, at least you got a place to go back to. All right. So
if I didn't have an anchor baby.
An anchor baby. But he could probably. Does he not have Canadian citizenship?
He's gonna get dual.
To an extent. Okay.
He will be able to have dual. Yeah.
I would love to have Canadian citizenship. Okay, so all right, so when you mentioned the billion, so I would say this, and just let me get this, because I think this is a thing that I think people talk about, and I don't even know if you're like this, because I don't think you are, because I think I know a little bit about you and how you, like, a lot of times people become billionaires by offering value at such a high rate that people are willing voluntarily to pay them for their service or their product. And then usually they become billionaires because they team up with other people and, as you know, scale something and give it to the world. And then usually it's like the ownership in a business, which is really on paper, not necessarily really liquid billion, that they become a billionaire because they've created something that enough people voluntarily vote for and they're willing to give them money for.
Right.
And then, so to me, that's a beautiful thing. I think, like you just mentioned scarcity, like having an abundance, having your particular activation system look for the abundance in things, including ways to make teams with people, to expand, to scale things, to have business, to, multiply value for the world. Because if you create wealth, in a free market system, you've created value for others. So like those are things I think are beautiful. And I think right now we're in this weird thing where it's like tax the rich, no more billionaires. It's like, dude, why would you want to stop people from offering value? Now that's separate from like Lockheed Martin and like, these merchants of death who get way more than billions. I mean, the Pentagon budget now is like 1.5 trillion, which is sickening. Well, that's what Trump wants it to be, but it's $1 trillion now. And a lot of that's salaries and stuff for people who sit in offices who don't even go out and fight. But, but that's different from the crony capitalism, which is like through government contracts, through government protections, like pharmaceuticals, which are, you can't import pharmaceuticals into America. Really, we have patents here, which is like once they get a patent, they got 30 years to sit on something, which is sick. That's never what our founders wanted. But forget the founders. Like it's just bad for society. It's just economically bad, and also like it just creates a scarcity of supply. Because like this one drug, it's like, dude, you don't own that. But there is research and development costs. But then like we need to do a better way of like protecting intellectual property rights rather than just making people billionaires because they can have a cancer fighting medicine they can charge $35,000 a month. And they totally do that, dude. And they extort the hell out of us.
I was in healthcare for over 20 years. I get it.
And I understand it's a profit. I understand there is a cost for research and development. Like we can't take the market, but it's not a free market because it's a constricted over supply. But it's better than like if the government produced it, because in the government there would be no breakthroughs. But talk to me about what are your thoughts on that? How do you see those things? And sort of where are you at now at this age? And as you said, you're Canadian, you're not even from here. But how do you feel about those things?
Okay, so let me challenge you.
Okay.
I said, Taylor, I want you to develop a cancer vaccine. Okay. And if you're successful, you can make up to $1 billion. Would you turn around and say, no, I'm not doing it because I want to make $5 billion on this? Or would you still say to yourself, heck yeah, I'm gonna go for the $1 billion? Well, because I'll never be able to spend $1 billion. So when you say that it's going to stymie or it potentially could stymie the creative flow and the push for these breakthroughs. I don't think any person is going to turn away $1 billion if they're said that's what they're going to be capped at.
Well, if you cap it, then we're only going to produce up to the certain amount of point where we would make that billion and then stop.
And then you can pick the
like we're not going to produce any more except up to $1 billion. Like you could like wage like wage and price controls on any product don't work. You could put it on gas.
Yeah.
Like if you say you can only make this much or charge this much, then you produce up to that amount and then you just have shortages. So from an economic standpoint.
Well, so then you make up to $1 billion, and then after that, you're picking the charities of choice.
Well, again, you're not going to have as much. So I would say this. A lot of businesses, especially like the anti-aging business and a lot of the businesses that are out there.
We could talk about that all day too.
They're basically for that. They're basically to move society forward. And so if we curtail that and if we just give the government, which like you said, you're not giving it to the government, you're saying charities, which then is going to create this whole system. Well, first of all, that's better than just giving to the government, but then it creates this thing where like everybody's a 501c because they're trying to get the money, and then they're just going to be, bribing the politicians to get the 501c quote unquote charity status. So I would say the free market moves best if you just leave it alone. Like we can say everybody can have health insurance access, like health insurance, but we can't just magically create medicine or doctors or nurses or those things. Those people have to have incentive to be there. Now on all those things, it's all strict. The problem with like the healthcare industry, it's very heavily regulated. So only takes 12 to 14 years to be a doctor, so many years to be a nurse. That constricts the supply. Obviously that's going to make the price go higher. And so much of like healthcare is because the government creates this bottleneck of supply and then heavily subsidizes the use of it, that we have these things. But I would just say, to your point, if you cap things at $1 billion or you like an individual income, somebody's just going to work, get their $1 billion, and then take the next 8 months off, as opposed to being like, okay, let me go take my capital and then go invest in these other companies. And that's what, like, the reason we have economic growth in America, as you know, I think is because we take the money and then we invest it in other companies. Most startups don't work. Only like 17% or 5% of startups, between 5 and 17% of startups are successful, but they have to have angel investors. So like when people have excess capital, they don't just sit on that money, they invest it, and that gives other people who don't have the money an opportunity to get their product service, or their service or product to a market. And so if we take that away from billionaires, then we just stop all that capital from flowing in other ways, and then the billionaires would just do it to $1 billion and then stop. And I think like what's so scary about all the wealth redistribution schemes is like they don't that's like there's no understanding of that. It's like Peter Thiel, when he angel invests in money, a lot of those companies go nowhere, but the ones that do, they help a lot of people too, and people voluntarily vote for those companies, and it gives, by paying them, and it gives those people opportunities. And so if we take it away, it's just less opportunities for everybody. But
yeah, but not all billionaires are doing that.
Most
I mean,
are.
no.
If you
What is Trump investing in?
He invests in the stock market.
Okay,
and privately, I'm sure he has a manager. And by the way,
what percentage of America can be part of the stock market these days?
Well, quite a bit. Even $100 a month. But
who has an extra $100 a month, Taylor?
There are people.
There are a lot more people that don't these days than do.
Okay.
So the economic.
By the way, I hate Trump. So
I know the economic system, the way it's set up, is not working. It's making the rich richer and making the middle class poor. It is creating this gap, this wealth gap. So it's not working the way it's happening. So we have to change it somehow.
Okay. Would you say, are you, I don't want to cut you off.
No, I cut you off. Okay. So please.
Okay. So I would say the reason we're poorer is because the Federal Reserve has printed so much money. We've had so much money printing, so much easy money that has made the house of real things, not things that like they can print like money. Like obviously that can be, but like houses, land, things that are tangible things, they can't replicate that. And so the money flows into those assets that they can't. The key to everything is a production of stuff. We have to produce. If everything that we ever wanted came bubbling out of the ground, we would have no need for anything. And so what we really want is we want mass production of goods, because that then gets to everybody. So you want to incentivize as much production of things, you get more bang for your buck. You get more bang for your buck relative to your $1 can buy more over time when there's new inventions, when there's new abilities to mass produce stuff at scale through factories and technology, and those things make these, over time, these microphones where they were once unaffordable for the average person, where like things like this can pop up because all this is mass produced, and through competition, these companies competing with each other, as you know, it makes it cheaper, and then eventually this little 29-year-old kid, he can get some people to invest in him, and he can go and set this up, and now it gives us a vehicle to talk in. So it's like, through competition, through innovation, that's what actually creates more mass production. And I would say this, a lot of why we're poor is because the government is bankrupting us. They cause regulations, they pick winners and losers, and then they inflate the currency away. They basically, we don't have sound money. We don't even need to use dollars. We could use a cryptocurrency. We need to be able to barter ourselves with some medium exchange, but they control it. And so you're right to an extent. There's so much in my opinion, you're right to an extent, because there's so much crony capitalism. Like the banks and stuff get the money first. So when there's cheap money, they get the money first. They lend it out. The people who already have enough assets to borrow the money at those things, they can then take that cheap money and scale it. So the financial system is the problem. I don't think it's like capitalism, like people competing, trying cheap water bottles or something, although these probably have like BPA in it or something. But you understand what my point. Let's just say microphones or clothes or cell phones. Like those are things like those people, the market is the most just system. The market rewards people who innovate, who actually offer value to society. So we always want to market. I don't think that you're saying get rid of the market. I think you're saying something's got to be broken. Something's broken, which I agree with. I think it's the financial system. I think it's the Federal Reserve. I think it's that. It's because the government controls those things. It's not the actual free market. The government creates a problem and then it blames the free market on it. And then the solution is to blame it even more, or to take more of it over, or to just nationalize it. And then, the thing about like when we nationalize anything, those boats only go one way. They only go away from things that are nationalized, heavy regulated, socialized, into countries that have more free markets. And it's always been the case. And again, I don't think and just knowing enough about you and like how you, because I see some of because even you've expressed support for me being a libertarian. So I don't think, but I think it scares me to death when people talk about like wealth confiscation or billionaire, because I think it's like it's misunderstanding economics, number one, and also like, hey, like we are free. I personally think you should make however much you want to make, you make it if you make it without the government helping you. So if you make a product or service that just enhances society, and then once you get the $100 billion, they don't sit on it. That money, even in the stock market, it invests in companies around the world or in the country, and it feeds those capital to those companies where they can hire people, they can get new technology. So it all kind of goes together. People don't put it under their mattress. I think you already know this, but if you have any thoughts on that, please share.
So I'm going to
yes
say one thing.
Okay.
We can get everything we need bubbling up from the land.
Okay. All right.
So that was way back.
Yeah.
Like probably 5 minutes ago, not even.
Yeah.
We don't. Why do we need this?
I actually agree.
To communicate?
I actually agree.
To communicate. That's what
it's
people would
one.
argument, right?
Yeah,
They would argue that we need this to communicate. Well, what are we doing right now?
Right.
We're communicating.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Everything we've been sold it's all things that we don't necessarily need. And from a person who, so I'm a single mom, right? I would say that, okay, so this has also been like really cool about my journey, because I came from, like, I was dual income, me and my ex-husband.
Right.
We were both making six figures.
Right.
I was a genetic counselor. He was in healthcare as well. Okay. We were doing great. We were the people that everybody wants to be, right? Like solidly middle class. You're taking the all-inclusive vacations you want. You're, you got new vehicles. You bought a new house, right? Like now I'm a single mom. I have changed careers. So I make less than what I did, but for my mental health, that's what I had to do, right? In the last 6 months, I've had a $14,000 tax bill assessed to me. Or sorry, in the last year. I have a $14,000 tax bill assessed to me because I sold my home. I have...
which is stupid. That's the government. Sucks.
Right?
Yeah.
I have healthcare bill that, you have to pay off because your healthcare doesn't cover everything, right? You always leave the hospital or a clinic with a bill, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I've got medical bills that I'm paying every month. And then my mortgage company decided to increase my mortgage by $400 a month because they needed more savings. It's not escrow, it's something else. By law, they're allowed to do it. The government has written that into law for them to be able to do that with no rhyme or reason behind it. So now I'm living paycheck to paycheck. 3 things happened to me, and I'm living paycheck to paycheck. None of these things matter to me that I can afford them now because I can't. Because our financial system, our government, the way we're running things has driven me down into this hole despite me working 3 jobs, despite me doing everything that like I'm trying to make it, right? You see that?
Yeah. No,
so I'm that person that you're saying gets a chance in this country because of the way things are set up, but really we don't.
Well,
because of everything else that they've put into place to keep us down.
Okay, so for sure the government. If you're blaming the government and the financial system, I'm 1,000% on board with you now. What I would say is like we need more mass. Like the only way you're going to get out of that is to have more mass production of stuff, and then even
how? How does that get me out of this?
Because everything gets cheaper over time. You need,
my mortgage isn't getting cheaper.
But it will eventually because they can build more houses. If we have more houses built, it helps everybody. So like we want more of stuff. If economics is what we're going for, when we have more supply of something, prices go down. If we have less, it's just natural. Like if Trump puts the tariffs on and we have less goods come in, things are going to go up. So like the cars, he can tariff and that's fine. But then we have less cars, then car insurance goes up because there's less cars because everything's pricier. But I would say this, and the other thing is like owning assets. Like from the time we're young, we got to be investing our money because we have to own assets. Like I wasn't great about this either, but I've learned since, and now I'm all right. Because I started investing my money in index funds and ETFs all over the place, and over time that builds you assets that you can own, and you actually own something instead of just working and then, like you said, not having anything. And I know you have children. I know your circumstance right now is completely different, but along the way, if we can get, and I think the younger generations are investing more of their money where they can own assets more. That's the key, because you don't want to work forever. You want to have passive income. You have to have resources that produce while you sleep.
How do they make the money to invest? Because I read somewhere that the current minimum wage to give graduating people or people in their 20s the same opportunity to save and invest as a person in like the 60s or 70s, right? Maybe even 80s, 90s, might even be us. Yeah. That the minimum wage would have to be $65 an hour.
And
so how?
That's because of the government.
How? It's not just the government. There are a lot of businesses like Jeff Bezos who is happy to pay $20 an hour to his workers and not give a flying F about anybody else.
Jeff Bezos, and I don't agree with when it's crony capitalism, but Jeff Bezos has.
What is crony capitalism? You keep saying that.
When the government gives out contracts, when the government, because the government can make people unbelievably wealthy too.
Well, they do. That's
all
what
the time.
Doing.
All the time.
It's all intertwined.
but if you look at the monetary supply, so how much money circulates in the system?
Yes.
There's a measure for that. What it was in the 60s and what it is now, it's like 1,000. It's like the value of $1 in 1913. That same dollar is worth like 4 cents now.
Yeah.
So because they've expanded the monetary supply, that's why you need more money. The house, we all know about housing because like here in Utah, how crazy the houses are, because they've printed so much money. There's so much money, so because the government spends so much. Every dollar the government spends, it takes out of the private sector and it reallocates resources. When the government builds a building, it makes the supply to build that building higher for everybody else. And so the government distorts prices by taking capital and using resources that we only have a finite amount of in the ways that they spend it. And then when you combine that with taxing people, like a capital gains is a double tax. So so you get what that does is that decentralizes investment. So now people are like, no, I'm good. It's already a risk for me to invest in this thing, and if I got to pay what I make a profit on, certain high percentage taxes, then I'm less likely to invest. So now we have less opportunities. And so what we really want, we want to incentivize the production of stuff, investment. And that's why we should really be cutting capital gains tax to zero. Like the if you want, so if you want more stuff, we have to produce more. So we have to incentivize to produce more stuff. But to your point,
I don't want more stuff.
But from a macro perspective, do I think we need more stuff? Probably not. Probably not.
We do not.
Because but now I'm a pro free market.
Much shit.
And I would say even for you, I hope that you at least maybe advocate for the free market and also love the free market, because it's people voluntarily, basically freedom. I just don't want coercion from other people. So like I want people to make as much as they want and produce as much as they want. But we've never had an easier life. We've never produced more, but we've never been more busy because we're so worried about this. And even myself, I fall into it too, because it's like I got to check this, or like somebody writes.
I know, like how many times have you looked at your phones in this conversation?
Okay, but
no, you're looking at notes.
Yeah,
no, I know. Yes, but and I've seen your phone go off. Like I just I know that, and my phone's going off too.
Yeah.
You're right. It is this it's. So no, I think we need less. I I know you're going to cringe when I say this,
Yeah.
but I really hope that the green rectangle paper that we've created to be God, because that's all it is.
I know.
It is a piece of paper, everybody, that they
I
dye
don't
green
disagree. Yeah.
and they stamp. And we take it and we look at it and we say, oh my God, this is da-da-da, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hope it collapses. I hope our dollar tanks. I hope that, I know, I'm saying it because I hope what it does is it forces us to go back to the beginning. And the free market that I'm supporting is things like the Wasatch Co-op. I'm supporting community gardens. I'm supporting, like, I am choosing to support those businesses that see the value in community effort and community sharing, right? Where everybody gets some. And will that be successful? I don't know, but I can't continue in good faith effort or good faith. I can't continue to make a good faith effort at buying things that just line the pockets of people that don't have any kind of good interest at heart. Like they're psychopaths. They are literally psychopaths running this world right now. If you took a definition of if they underwent psychological testing and we used the standards, they would score as psychopaths because you cannot be a functioning human being and make the choices that you've made and decisions you've made without having some disconnect from basic human decency, right? So I can't support the psychopaths anymore.
Sociopathic for sure. Trump definitely learned to be.
Yeah. My money is not going to go towards that. And I know I'm forced into taxes.
Don't pay taxes to the government.
Okay, but
yeah, they can come arrest you. That sucks.
See, that's the thing.
Because they have the guns.
And okay.
Put you in a cage.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like they're using law enforcement to keep us under control.
Agreed. Yeah,
Let's go back to psychedelics. That's what we started with, right? Okay. How much time do we have?
We need to go right.
Okay. So to end this out, let's follow up with psychedelics.
Okay.
And the government.
Yes.
So psychedelics back in the 40s, 50s, 60s. They were part of like regular research. Like there are nursing papers that talk about the LSD patient and how the nurses are supporting that LSD patient through a journey so that they can come out with less PTSD. Yeah. That was in the 50s.
Yeah, I believe it.
Okay. So Nixon comes along and whoever else, does the war on drugs. And Reagan. Yeah. See, that's the Canadian in me.
Yeah, I know. All right.
I thought it was Nixon.
You know, Trump just legalized that, or maybe it's actually
yes, yeah,
it's a good thing.
Yes, I thought it was Nixon. The war on drugs.
I think no, it was Ronald Reagan started like the war on drugs. Like he took it main.
Oh, okay,
They were going into the ghettos and busting people for cocaine.
So they put psilocybin and all of the psychedelics as a class 1 drug that's as dangerous as heroin, meth, like crack cocaine. And they did that, and they pulled all the funding and all of the clinical trials and research because they were seeing that people were starting to heal themselves. They were starting to get their own minds. They were starting to think for themselves freely again. Yeah. And the government had to stop that.
Yeah, agreed. Because they had to protect pharmaceutical companies to give us.
That's only one layer. Yeah. They also had to continue to keep us under control and brainwashed and like
I think so.
and living this 3D world that they've created for us, right? Because that's the only way it would succeed.
Yeah.
So now we are at this. So that happens and it takes us way back, right? We're at this new spot where we can't accept what the government is doing. We cannot accept it. I don't care where you fall on not accepting it, but we have to land on not accepting it and not let them bulldoze us over.
I agree. Thank you so much.
Thank
you're
you.
Awesome.
So are you.
Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for
watching. Bye, guys.
Peace. That was great. You did great.
Okay.
I was so impressed right there. I mean, not that you had to earn my validation. You're awesome. I appreciate your vibration and how you are. Let me go tell.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, Skylar. I'm sorry, buddy. I just looked at the clock. We just ended. I'm sorry. That was fun.
That was fun.
I'm interested to see what
I'm
people,
interested to see what you do with
what
it.
people say about that one.